Hello, my name is Joanne Woo. I am the Global Head of Communications for ABB Process Industries, based out of Melbourne. And today I'm joined by Tony Makuch, who is the CEO of Agnico Eagle and Kirkland Lake Gold, based out of Toronto in Canada. So welcome, Tony. Thank you very much for joining.
Well, thanks, Joanne. Nice to get a chance to meet with you, talk to you. It would be nice to be able to be doing this in person down in Melbourne, but circumstances are what they are. We're happy that we can all continue to stay safe and stay healthy, and we look forward to a much brighter future than we've spent for the last 2 years, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Hopefully in 12 months' time, we will be able to meet in person. But in the meantime, you are sitting there in amongst the snow. I know there's snow outside behind you, and for me, I'm in my summertime, so it's quite fun when we think of the the different parts of the world that we live in.
Yeah, but I tell people that I don't mind winter and I don't mind snow. I mean, there's a certain part of everything. If the winter's too long, it gets to you. If it's too hot too long, it gets to you too. So the nice balance.
That's true. So Tony, there's some exciting news that your company has just recently announced. Talk us through that.
Well, yeah. So Kirkland Lake Gold and Agnico Eagle mines. We've completed a merger of equals to form, the third largest gold producer, right? The new Agnico Eagle gold mines. We're very excited about this because it really sets a new platform for the company. A company with significant balance sheet strength, very strong financially. Production in between 3.2 to 3.4 million ounces a year, with potential to grow the production with operations and based in very much what we feel tier 1 jurisdictions in Australia, at Fosterville mine in Australia, which is one by the world's most profitable gold mine, with operations in Canada, based in both the Abitibi Greenstone Belt in northeastern Ontario, northwestern Quebec. Solid platform up in Nunavut in northern Canada, as well as in Finland and in Mexico.
Wow, that's exciting! Congratulations! Very exciting news.
Yeah, we think, when we say we merger, we create the third largest gold producer, and that's the third largest gold producer both by market cap and by production. But our aspirations is to be the most value creating gold producer over the next few years. It's not necessarily about how many ounces of gold we produce; it's how we responsibly extract gold and provide the best return for our shareholders and for the communities and the peoples that we live in, right?
Absolutely. So I think it will make for today's conversation really, really interesting, given the size and the influence that your company has, and certainly paving the way in many respects in terms of how miners are really organizing and restructuring its growth agenda. So today's conversation is going to be wide-ranging, but it's really speaking about the future of mining and certainly about topics like technology and sustainability. But firstly, I just wanted to ask you a really high level. The mining industry is going through what I would probably say is the biggest transformation of our time. What are the emerging issues in your mind, and what's really keeping you up at night as the president and CEO of your company?
Well, definitely emerging trends, and COVID's had a significant impact in terms of focus on people, and even more so in terms on health and wellness of people, and how that and it's made some changes in how we operate, and I believe changes for the good in terms of is how we move forward. Definitely the emerging trends in terms of creating maybe, as you put it, maybe we need to create a lighter footprint for our industry in terms of what we do, and to maintain that social license, and in terms of the product that we mine, in terms of ensuring that people want it and use it, but they don't want it to be done irresponsibly. So definitely providing minimal harm to the environment, or harm that we can correct whenever we can. As maybe as when I talked to at one time, I remember talking to Jaja Warang in Victoria, where he said, we have the ability to provide healing to the earth at times. I think that's important that we do that. Definitely how we work with our people and the communities and providing support and for people, both from a from a work and development point of view, and in terms of making people feel wanted and needed at work, but also supporting them in the other parts of their life. I always say work is a necessary evil that we all have to do to enjoy our life. So we got to make sure that work is not all consuming, and we should make sure that the work that we do actually improves the quality of our life for ourselves, for our families, and for our neighbors and everybody else that gets impacted by it. But at the same time, we also got to recognize the importance of the environment, of water, and what we're doing there. Definitely, we've made big commitments to reducing our carbon footprint, and we see a path to being able to improve that significantly. And those are things we're going to be working on over the next while to try to really demonstrate that I suppose that we can have a sustainable industry in terms of what we do that actually is better to have than to not have in wherever we are.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's really well said, Tony. So let's go down the path of sustainability. I read an interesting report recently by EY where they've shown a fundamental shift in particularly metals and mining companies in terms of what they see as the biggest challenge and priority. So in the past, it was very much centered around productivity and costs. And now when we look at the top three, it's actually around decarbonization, social license, and environmental footprint. So quite a significant shift, and I'm sure that's something that you're leading in your company as well. We've seen a lot of commitments towards net zero by miners, but how do we get there? What is your view on that?
Well, first and foremost, I'll say that we always, when we're running businesses, we always got to focus on productivity and costs and profitability, because that's the number one thing in what we do. But I think what's emerging and what we really see and what we're going to demonstrate is that we can focus on we can focus on that, but it actually can be enhanced or improved upon by our efforts towards ESG, whether it's reducing the carbon footprint, looking at other ways to do things, adopting technology, and adopting a lot of new changes and innovation as we go forward. What we're doing, we in terms of reducing our carbon footprint, I mean, a couple initiatives we had to do first. First, we say, well, we want to do that. Then we've got to go find out, well, what is it, right? What is our carbon footprint? So we spend a lot of time understanding our scope 1, scope 2, and still trying to figure out our scope 3 carbon footprint. We, definitely within Kirkland Lake Gold, and now with the new Agnico, we're leaders in some of the areas. I know definitely the Macassa mine and Kirkland Lake is one of the lowest carbon emitters and globally, and from a gold mine perspective, and definitely the energy that we produce at our mines in Ontario are, it's very clean energy. So that's there's some good points we have to work with, but we have to look at what we're doing in terms of what carbon. What is our carbon footprint per se? Maybe sorry, without digressing too much. And then from there we can attack it a little bit at a time, or look at major areas that we can improve upon it. The other part about it is it's not just or in terms of how we're trying to do that. We want to set it up that we understand it. We want to communicate it to all of our employees. We want to communicate it to our suppliers and in the communities we live, and to our shareholders, so everybody can see it. And if the 5,000 or 10,000 people within the company each know what their individual impact is on from a carbon footprint for what we do, and also know what the impact is of all everybody else's, then that's the best way that we're going to solve this. It's not going to be one or two of us trying to figure it all out. You can't go to the Shoppers Drug Mart or something and buy a pill to say, okay, if we just do this, it's going to go away. We have to take advantage of people and what people can bring to the table in terms of new ideas and new methods. I think that's going to go a long way, right?
Yeah, I think you make a really good point there, because I remember at the start of the whole sustainability transition, many companies were investing in sort of dedicated teams that were really charged with looking at the solutions, but it was just the sort of, as you say, 5 or 10 people that were really charged to it. Whereas when you really embed it as the culture to every single person in your organization, it just makes a huge difference. So how have you embedded that as in terms of people's decision making and making the right choices that really drive sustainability? How have you embedded that culture?
Well, excuse me. Well, a big part of it, first and foremost, is, and as I mentioned, to understand it and communicate it internally to people, and ensure people know what it is, right? And we all know our individual, then our individual impact, and then it's about empowering people, and about creating a platform where everyone has a means to either provide ideas and initiative. I mean, we made a commitment of to spend $75 million US a year over the next 5 years towards investing in a number of these areas. And it's not, in terms of it. Sorry, maybe I'll break it up. It's not just about looking at, well, let's just stop burning diesel fuel at our sites, right? It's a combination of definitely of that. It's a combination of looking at, what do we buy? Where do we source our product, our inputs? What do we do? How much of that do we use, right? Whether it's, any of our inputs to what we bring into our mine sites or our mills. It's also, though, about adopting technology and innovation, and we're making big investments in that area, and we partnered recently with Rogers Communications up in Canada to build a new private area network, 5G private area network for the Detour mine. We're partnering with them to extend that 5G network down into the town of Cochrane to bring it and connect it to the basically the networks within Ontario and within Canada, and then from there, we can start putting instrumentation on our equipment. We can start looking at various processes, start adopting operating technology from that to improve, how we work, and limit use of more efficient use of our equipment and our people, and as well look at ways to take new methods, and then this is only the first step. So one step is creating the platform on the technology side, or the foundation to be able to support it, which would be the 5G network. Next thing is to bring in the digitization and automation into the platform, to start collecting data, start seeing what's going on, and start being able to automate a lot of our processes. And then the third phase, which is another exciting phase, which we want to bring on, is then bring in artificial intelligence or machine learning, and start finding new ways that we can have decision making done in various ways. Some people might sit there and say, well, this is going to reduce the number of people working for us. And, I see it's going to be actually different. Instead of having, 5 people driving trucks, we might have one or 2 people driving trucks, and 3 or 4 people who are either computer specialists, or, different type of mechanics or tradespersons to deal with the new equipment and the new methods, what we do. Fundamentally, it should help in terms of, not only in terms of what we talk about in terms of reducing our carbon footprint, improving productivity and costs at site, but it should also help in terms of, eliminating or reducing harm to people, and reducing harm to the environment, and into the places where we work.
Yeah, I think that's a really good segue into the discussion around people. So you mentioned before, technology is really very much an equation to the whole decarbonization challenge. But of course, this would also mean, people is very much behind that as well. And also the types of roles will change. So not to say that there's going to be less people working, but actually the type of work within mining becomes different, and the types of skills that we need becomes different. What does the future of work look like for you, Tony? And I guess the second question to that is, how do we attract the new generation to come and work within this industry? Given when we look at the new generation, they are digital natives. They are longing to work for the companies like Amazon and Googles of the world, and they think differently and want different things from work. So I guess that's a bit of a two-part question. Firstly, what's the future of work that you see? And then secondly, how do we attract the new generation?
Yeah, so, okay, so then first off in the future of work, and I mean, a couple parts of the future of work, whether, when we talk about, say, the tradesperson, the person that is, the traditional, maybe the traditional heavy duty mechanic, or the traditional millwright that we see in industry that carries a big, big pipe wrench or a large, either large box end wrenches, and we see those people and with grease on their fingers, and hardworking people, and you're going to have that person, but that person in terms of carrying that large wrench, they might still do that, but they're also probably going to carry a tablet of some sort. They're going to probably carry small screwdrivers and maybe little small clips of sort, and digital readers to be able to read what's going on. So it's going to be a different kind of person that understands the mechanical aspects of things, but also the technology that's being put in place. I think from that perspective, it could be very exciting in terms of what you do as a tradesperson. And definitely you see, we'll be able to take out some of the jobs that maybe over time that cause certain injuries to people, or over time cause maybe wear and tear on people. Maybe we'll be able to remove those type of positions from the workplace, be able to automate those type of practices. In terms of the future of work, I think we're always still going to have work for people, but as you say, in this digital age, and as we're adopting more and more automation, I mean, we're gonna more and more have people spending time thinking of what to do first before you react. I think the regular daytime or time of when we work this 40-hour work week, Monday to Friday, 8 to 4 or 9 to 5. I think that's going to go by the wayside. I know, maybe 30 years ago, I remember somebody talking about, you can see the end of the 5-day, maybe a 4-day work week. Well, maybe as we progress, it may be the work week is going to change, the way of work, and where people work, whether we all need to be in an office at the same time, whether we can, if you look at it, when we're connected, we can be connected and able to be productive and work at any time of the day, no matter where we are. At the same time, we can be doing a lot of interesting things, and in that, like, so so I'm more thinking about also the time of day that people work, instead of, I was talking earlier where, we talk about a lot of cities where you have this rush hour traffic, where everybody from 8 to 9 in the mornings, everybody rushing into work, and then everybody from 4 to 5, everybody's to 6, everybody's rushing home, and we have this rush hour. Well, I think, and I know over the last 2 years with COVID happening, I haven't talked to anybody, and it didn't matter where they were globally in the world, that misses that part of going to and from work. They do miss the interaction with people, but nobody misses that. So as we go forward, if we need to create different workplaces, we need to create different work schedules, and that allow people to be more productive and those areas. And I think, fundamentally that helps in terms of building balance for people and balance in your life. And, it's nice for me to sit there and say, geez, if maybe it used to be that, geez, if I get you to work 70 hours a week and pay you for 40, it's productive, and it's good for the business. In fact, that's not really good for the business. It's better to have you work more effectively 40 hours a week or 37 and a half hours a week, and be much more productive and much more innovative in that period of time, and then have people have a better balance of life. Because if people can be more creative and more how do you want to say, quicker on their feet, I think you have to have that balance, and have have the ability for people to maybe feel comfortable. We can't just, we're in a situation where you got, a culture of information overload because everybody's attached to somebody at any one time, right? You got me be texting, you can be surfing the internet, we could be talking here, and I could be doing 3 or 4 different things at once. It's information overload. How do we ensure that people can multitask and still not make mistakes and still at the same time feel comfortable and productive, and also feel how do you want to say, feel that they're adding value in terms of in the workplace, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this kind of change in work environment also presents an exciting opportunity from a diversity and inclusion perspective. So with the more we have digitalization, the less need there is for people to, of course, there will always be a need to travel to remote locations and so on, but certainly there are some jobs that can be done elsewhere, and therefore the accessibility of work becomes better compared to, I guess, in the past. So do you see that as really making a change from a diversity and inclusion perspective?
Well, that's a big area that we're working on, especially when we do have remote operations, and there's a lot of the say the jobs we have, or a lot of the things that we do at the site and in these remote locations. We don't necessarily have to have that person there all the time. That person could be somewhere else. Could be monitoring what's going on in a plant. Could be doing things. That's one of the exciting parts about getting into machine learning and artificial intelligence as we move forward. You're still going to want to have that interaction of that person traveling and being there to see what's going on once in a while, and the interaction with the people. But instead of us having to be there again, somebody has to work. If I use an example of what we do with some of our remote sites, where you're 2 weeks in, 2 weeks up, say out at Nunavut, maybe somebody only has to do that, do a shortened version of that once a month, and the rest of the time they can be in a more favorable location for themselves. And at the same time, it takes away a lot of logistics that we would have at site, trying to bring these people up there and house them, and all the logistics around there, which affects our carbon footprint. And at the same time, it helps us to rationalize or reduce not only our carbon footprint, but even our footprint in terms of water usage at the site, the other impacts we might bring to the site. And then you create maybe a more stable and more healthy workforce over time, right? And you mentioned about how do we attract the young people to our industry? And somebody once mentioned it to me, and then asked me the question one time: is how is our what is sexy about the mining industry? And you can sit there and say, well, the mining industry, from my perspective, has always been, there's always lots of interesting things to do. Whether you can be an environmentalist, you can be an engineer, you can want to be a mechanic, you can want to be an electrician, you can want to just be a laborer, drive big trucks. There's all kinds of really interesting things to do in our industry, and we need them all. And as we go forward in adopting technology more and more in our industry, and looking at new methods, there's a lot of exciting things to do. The other part about our industry that really I always found that was exciting, and something that we don't sell enough in terms of attracting people to our industry, is you get to go to places that people might pay to go vacation, or you might only have one chance in your whole lifetime, or not even at all, to get to see the Northern Lights up in Nunavut, or to get to see the outback in Australia, or to get to be in certain regions in Mexico. Like, we get to go to places that not everybody gets to go to, and you get to go there and get to see it, and get to really experience what the lifestyle and the overall, whether it's culture, or whether what's happening within the how do you want to put it, within the geography, or the geography in those different regions. So there's a lot of really exciting things in the gold industry, and in the mining industry, I should say, that we don't sell ourselves well for.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, when I think of some of my most memorable career trips, it's been to the mines and to the remote locations of where they've been located, and they're very eye-opening as well. And I also find that the communities are very close when you travel to those locations. So, absolutely agree with you. And I think certainly there almost needs to be a bit of a rebrand of the industry, because when we think about it, really the mining sector is core to the energy transition. When we think about the critical inputs that will enable the energy transition. So, you know, to be able to actually speak to that, I think, and that purpose, I think would certainly resonate with the younger generation as well. So Tony, just to close off this really exciting conversation, one last question for you is, what is one piece of leadership advice that you would leave with the audience?
Oh, I mean, there's lots of things. You know, what first and foremost, I think, you know, we always have to be honest with ourselves and honest with people. You know, learn how to always, you know, look for the truth and tell the truth at all times. You know, I think that's very important. You know, we're always better to say what needs to be said, not what people want to hear, right? I think that's important. You know, so stay truthful and you know, stay honorable as well. You know, live up to your words and live up to certain standards that you want to take. You know, so people should be proud of proud. You know, and feel you know, feel that, you know, everybody is everybody was created equal, and everybody has an equal chance to prosper and to make a difference. And all you have to do that is work hard and stay honest, right? So.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that. I think honesty is so key to trust. And, you know, trust is really what we need the most right now in terms of the world that we live in and where the world is going as well. We need to trust each other. And we also need to trust that people come with good intent. So I think absolutely agree with you. So thank you very much, Tony. Really enjoyed our conversation. Really love all the good things that you and Kirkland and Agnico Eagle are doing, certainly around the investment in technology and innovation, but also making sure that you create work that's meaningful and valuable for people as well. So I'm really glad that we brought the people element into the conversation. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Take care. Sorry if I talk too long.
All good. Take care.
Bye.